So aren't you glad you didn't get tossed in the 7th?
Yeah. 20/20 hindsight. I'm glad it stayed in the game. And by rule, they were right, but it's one of those things that I don't think anybody agrees with that rule. I think in professional baseball, it has to be over the plate. If a guy does that, then it's a strike. In college, if they show intent of leaning into it, doesn't have to be a strike. So by rule, they got it right, which I couldn't argue that much, I guess, but that was a tough call. It didn't go our favor, and I had a sneaking suspicion we were going to make that game interesting, so tried to stay in it.
Take us through the 9th inning from your perspective. How fun was that to watch, and how much fight does this team have that kind of seen it grow in front of your eyes?
Washington State's got a really good bullpen, so for us to hang in there and beat them late like that is a huge character builder for us, confidence builder. Just a ton of 5 or 6 straight really good at bats. Toby starting off kind of sparked us there with the homer, and then Luke Hill getting on base again, Crenshaw getting on base, and then Johnny Weaver. We got to teach him how to bunt a little bit better, but he ended up putting the ball in play at least, which was big, and I gave him a hit out of it, which okay. And then I thought Jack's got him there, to be honest. I was kind of coming out of the dugout. I thought he got him, but nonetheless, it's a great at bat. Moves the runner over, gets the run in, and then of course Boo comes up with the big hit there to walk it off. So ton of 5 or 6 really good at bats, one after another, and it's like I said, character win. So I'm proud of those guys.
I know
it's the spark was Ryan's back pick going into that.
I'm glad you brought it up because that's kind of a play that goes unnoticed, but that could have really ultimately been the difference of the game. They kind of had a little rally going there with 2 outs, and if we give up a cheap base hit or something there and they score another run, then maybe we're still playing right now. But the fact of him being heads up and seeing that guy was getting off of there awful big, and he and Toby executed it perfectly. So I didn't notice that guy getting off that big, and it took me by surprise too. But I mean that's as quick as I've seen Campy, catch and throw a back pick like that. So he knew what he was doing, and I trust him when he does something like that. It usually works out for the better.
Is that something that's called between them pre-pitch?
Yeah, they have they have a sign. They know each other well enough. I think it's just more of a look now. They just kind of look at each other, and I don't know what their sign is, and if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. But I think they just kind of look at each other and know that, yeah, this is a guy that we can pick. They're always looking for. The thing I like about Campy is he doesn't overdo it. He only does it when he knows he can get the guy or believes he can get the guy. So big play in the game.
Kean said that this team has a lot of heart, and he felt like the 9th inning kind of showed that despite such a slow offensive game through the first 8 innings. Would you agree with that, and how much do you feel like that 9th inning exemplified that?
I do. These guys are starting to, something special is kind of brewing in there, which is neat. They're starting to believe that they can win games late. Good teams figure out ways to win late, and they did that tonight, of course. And I think I would characterize them as having guys that care and heart and that aren't going to give in. And tonight wasn't necessarily our night offensively early. Hawkins did a great job keeping us off balance. So, we got pitches to hit. We tried to do too much with it, quite a bit. And, but I think when you find that you just put together one good at bat after another, good things happen. But yeah, the fact that they didn't quit and even, getting down 2 there with the big homer in the 8th, that kind of seemed a little dismal. But then they surprise you when you got your 1, 2, 3 hitters come up in the bottom half and you don't put anything across and don't put a base runner on, and then in the 9th, Toby just kind of sparks us with the homer and gets guys believing that we're only 1 down, and they just kept putting together good at bats. So it's fun. It's fun to watch those guys start to believe that they can do something special. So
Timmy Manning has been really good since transitioning to the bullpen. It seems like he's really taken that role in stride and not been disappointed with guys starting in the weekend rotation. Probably be a little demoralized being moved to the bullpen, but he's taking it right in stride. What did you feel like of his performance today?
I think Timmy was hands down the player of that game. And again, he calmed the waters. Maybe we'll see how the rest of the weekend pans out, but his 4 innings there are huge because that saves our bullpen for the next 2 days. It allows us to ultimately allowed us to save a couple of really big bullets down there for the next 2 games by his performance today. So he's been throwing the ball really well. He's getting more and more confident every time he goes out there. We're a flip of the coin on. We could start him, but then strategically, if we start him, we can't put him in the right spot to where ultimately he could save a game like that, like he did today. And if we maybe use him less today, he can come back on Saturday and pitch again. So maybe have him in 2 key situations throughout the weekend versus just 1. But he's throwing well enough now that we have to really consider what we're going to do moving forward with him, if we're going to put him in the rotation or keep him as is.
I think what he did tonight and what he's kind of been doing is like a prime example to other players of how you, no matter what your role is, you can really impact the team and impact the game and help the team.
I hope so. I hope the other guys are feeding off of that, and that's kind of what we've been preaching is I don't really care if you're getting the first 3 outs of the game or the last 3 outs, and bottom line, they're all a bunch of out getters, and it doesn't matter. They're all 27 of them are important. And it doesn't matter where you leave the decisions up to us as coaches to figure out when you're going in and getting those outs. So that's kind of what we're trying to preach to these guys. We don't have a traditional, I guess, pitching staff where we got a bunch of length guys. We have a bunch of guys that blow it out and let it eat for an inning or 2 and get them back ready for the next day. So that's what we're going to go with right now, and that's what we feel good with.
Coach, coming off of Tuesday's game, you guys were talking a lot about how the strikeouts were too high, the walks were too high. And then this game, you guys only struck out 6 times against one of the best strikeout teams in the pack and only walked 1 guy. How was it important that they bounced back so quick after you were so upset on Tuesday?
Well, I wouldn't get overly excited yet. That's a process. If we can do this over a consistent length of time, then I'll start getting excited. But they're gonna have to show me a little more consistency. Tonight was a good start. Hawkins again is a good pitcher that mixes up his pitches very well. Our approach was decent off him. Again, I think we had a lot of swings tried to get too big off him, but at the end of the day, we put the ball in play. That's a start. So, and from the pitching side, we walk 1 guy. Most of the time, you're going to come out on top. You don't strike out offensively, and you don't walk guys on the mound. So, it was a little bit interesting toward the end, but a win's a win, and those statistics hold true.
Yeah, this being your 3rd walk-off win of the season so far, how do you prepare your guys in those high-intense situations that it comes to maybe the final at-bats and you just got to get a hit to seal the deal?
I guess you can go back to fall and spring practice to where we try to make practices intense and put pressure on them to execute in certain situations. Otherwise, they have to run. And try to put something on the line to where they have to lock in and get it done. I think they don't want to fail and have to go run and we tell them to say hi to Jim Brock out there in left field, the Jim Brock sign. We got to go say hi to him and come back. Trying to put them in pressure situations. So obviously it doesn't necessarily equate to a game situation like this, but hopefully it allows them to train their minds to lock in when there is a pressure situation on the line. So they've done a good job of it so far in late games where we have a chance to win late, and they've come through. So hopefully that continues.
Seems like a lot of times last year the team wasn't able to pull one out in a game like this, kind of close down the end and demoralizing like run in the 8th. Kind of took some of the mojo away. What's been the difference that allowed this to happen this year versus last year?
Different team, different character, different people. So when you have your you get a different mix of group and different guys every year. This is something that this is a good group of guys, and they're starting to they're starting to feel it a little bit, you know, and to me that's what's exciting is I can sit here and talk about it all day long, but unless they feel it and start believing it, then it doesn't really matter. And when you start to see the excitement building with them in the locker room and their confidence level just continuing to grow every time out, it's kind of fun to, in my seat, to sit and watch it happen. But you know, we haven't accomplished anything yet, so we just got to keep going and keep trying to get better. And but it is fun to watch them grow.
Obviously, Jonah's start probably didn't work out the best possible way it could have, but in a short week like this, where you have the series opener on a Thursday and you want to keep Ross on Fridays, was that always kind of the plan to go with him, or were you maybe toying with the idea of going with someone else there?
Well, based on, you know, he had a 50-pitch outing at Cal on Sunday, so it was you know, it wasn't an overly taxing outing as far as pitch count. Today was normally his long bullpen day anyways, and coming off kind of a shorter outing, we made the decision as a staff to not rock the boat with our Friday and Saturday guys, just to keep them on schedule. And today, being that Jonah didn't have a big workload on Sunday, we thought he could come back and be effective today. You know, I know he didn't throw the ball as well as he wanted to, but you know, that was our plan going in. And we knew, obviously crystal ball, we didn't know Timmy was going to throw this well, but we knew we had Timmy behind him in case we needed some extra length. And we going into this game, we figured if we could get 6 innings between Jonah and Timmy, we'd be in good shape. They got 6 1/3, so now we had the last 3 innings going a little bit differently, but the first 6, that's kind of what we had planned between those two.
Anything new or different on the injury front?
There could be a light at the end of the tunnel on one of our guys, which was not optimistic last time I talked to you about Nick McLean, but now I'm cautiously optimistic. So I think we got some good news on that front, so now it's just a matter of getting him ready to go. So we're hopeful that he can be ready soon. So it's all based on, he's got to see Doc again tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. But I'm hopeful that we can get him back soon.
What about Ethan Long?
Ethan will be out for the year. So he had surgery, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to make it back in time for the end of the year. So that's a big blow for us. You know, it's kills him too. He's a competitive kid, and you can see him just wanting to be a part of this, and he is a part of it regardless. But you know, it's heart goes out to him because he's worked really hard this off season to get back in shape. And you know, the fact that injuries suck, man, and they do. I've had plenty of them in my life, so I get it. But you know, as long as he continues to be a positive influence around here, he'll always be a part of this.
No availability for pitching, like you said last time. I know you said that maybe you come out of the bullpen, but
good question. Yeah, he's with the type of surgery he had. Doc does not feel comfortable with him putting a glove on and even catching a ball for a couple months. So that squashes that idea that we had.
Yeah.
But you know, we were hopeful that might be an option for him to keep him engaged and keep him going. And I think you guys have seen Ethan pitch. He's got a chance to be pretty good, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Thanks for the question.